Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this program on Pharma Leadership, looking at pharma leadership with a different perspective. I must thank the organizer, Ravi Kumar Angadi, for organizing this beautiful program. This is the third in the series. Hats off to him for the initiative he has taken. But before I start this program, let me share with you two good news which I heard very recently. The first good news was the headline which shouted COVID-19 cannot be wiped out in the world without India. Why did they say that? It was a tribute to the Indian pharmaceutical industry. What they really meant was that COVID-19 cannot be wiped out without the Indian pharmaceutical industry. And that really delighted me that I've been in this great industry for the last 45 years. And the second good news that India is likely to become a superpower by 2050. The news is, I don't think, is an exaggeration because USA is already falling from grace. It has already been relegated to the number 2 position when you see the number of jobless people and a drastic drop in their economy. So if India has to become the leader, just as today till yesterday USA was the leader, if India has to become the leader, we need good political leadership. Like in USA today, the pharma industry is one of the leading industry. And if India leads the world tomorrow, we also need good leaders in our pharmaceutical industry. But do we have such leaders? Well, at least in the past, we had a number of good leaders like the Dr. Hamids, we had Dr. Anju Reddy. Today, of course, we have the younger ones like Dilip Sanghvi, the Pankaj Patels, and many more. But by and large, the Indian pharmaceutical industry today is lacking in leadership. You may ask me, why do I say so? Friends, the answer is obvious. If we had a strong leadership, UCPMP would have been voluntarily implemented 5 years ago or 4 years ago. But what's happening today? Everybody is dilly-dallying. A couple of years back, along with my wife, I had gone to Tadoba. Tadoba is a tiger sanctuary near Nagpur. While returning from the sanctuary late at night around 8:30, it was pitch dark and I teasingly asked my wife Vida, "Aren't you afraid of the tigers?" She laughed. I have full faith on the trackers and guides. I wish one day we could say the same thing about our pharma leaders. A question which comes to my mind, will coronavirus help us in developing new good leaders with a lot of integrity? Will coronavirus help us in wiping out transactional marketing? So what is leadership? When someone talks to me about leadership, the first story which comes to my mind, not a story actually, but an actual incident in my native village, Hattangadi, from which my surname has been derived, in coastal Karnataka district, around 40 kilometers north of Manipal, the seat of learning. This village attendee has a big Ganpati temple, and during the Ganesh Utsav there, an huge idol of Lord Ganesh is installed. I was there on the last day, Anant Chaturdashi day, when the immersion of the Lord takes place. But on that day, unfortunately, we couldn't find any vehicle to transport the idol to the river Netravati, about 6 to 7 kilometers from the village. What do? Fortunately, a poor farmer, offered his donkey. We kept the idol on the saddle of the donkey and started proceeding towards the river Netravati. And on the way, villagers started bowing before us. As the procession started moving further and further, more and more villagers was bowing before us. And for a moment, our donkey thought that the people are bowing before him. As the procession proceeded further, more and more people were bowing to the donkey. The donkey felt that people were bowing towards him and he felt elated. Oh, he thought, I become a leader. Wait, now let me go home. My master is ill-treating me. I'll give him a big kick on the where. And happily we reached river Netravati. The Ganesh idol was immersed. The farmer sat on the donkey and waited and trotted back. But on the way back, not a single person bowed before the donkey. The reasons are obvious. And this is exactly what happens not only in the pharmaceutical industry, but in the Indian business houses. People pay respect because people are in power. But the moment they are not in power, when they retire, when they change their jobs, no more that respect is paid. For example, when an executive director or vice president, he puts a post on Facebook, you will find hundreds of people from his own company talking great about that post, even if it is a bullshit post. Why? Because that person is in power, he has authority. But does power mean authority? In fact, there's a recent study which says that power causes brain damage. If power were a prescription drug, it would have a lot of toxic side effects. And this has been proved in a study by a neurologist from Ontario, Dr. Sukhvinder Singh Obi. It's not that what I am saying, but it has been recorded and put in a clinical trial by a neurologist, Dr. Sukhvinder Singh Obi. Power causes brain damage akin to traumatic brain injury. So forget my friends, leadership is not about power. All of us, we need to be titleless leaders. And this is a book which I would recommend all of you to read. It's a book by Nan Russell, A Titleless Leader. Coming to pharma, what is pharma leadership all about? For that, we need to go back to the basics. And what are the basics of pharma? If we want to strengthen a company, if we want to make a strong company, we need to have enough prescriptions for that company. The strength of a company, the health of a company as Professor Chittamitra always says, depends on the number of prescriptions which are being generated for that company. It is not the sales value which determines the health of a company, but the number of prescriptions. And who are responsible for generating those prescriptions? It is the medical representatives. So, pharma leadership, my dear friends, is basically empowering the lonely medical representative working all alone in the field, empowering him to become a better medical representative, increasing his in-clinic effectiveness, making sure that he enjoys the job, making his life as a medical representative more comfortable. This brings us, when we are talking about prescriptions, to generate prescription, the medical representative, he needs help. And who are the people generally who can help him? The brand managers and the first line managers. How can a brand manager help a medical representative? By designing a strategy which is implementable. A good strategy which is implementable. If a brand manager is able to give a good strategy which is implementable, I would salute him. Very often in different fora, I ask the question, my favorite question is, who is accountable for strategy execution? And many times the replies are vague and ambiguous. Everybody, sir, everybody from the brand management team, everybody from the sales management team. Very seldom do I get the correct answer. It is the first line leader, the first line manager who is accountable for strategy execution. Why do I say so? It's common sense. To whom does the medical representative report to? He doesn't report to the brand manager, he reports to the first line leader. And if strategy implementation is the responsibility of the medical representative, that by default it becomes the accountability of the first line leader. So when we are talking about pharma leadership, it basically means empowering the medical representative to generate a prescription by strengthening of brand managers and strengthening of first line manager and the field managers. It is from these people the leaders of tomorrow will emerge. My dear friends, brand building in pharma is a little different from brand building in the FMCG or white goods industry. Brand building in pharma is basically generating prescription. To build a strong brand, you need prescriptions, you need a medical representative, you need a brand manager, and you need the first line leaders. The brand managers and the field manager, the first line managers, they have to work in tandem to build brands. The brand managers have to give a good implementable strategy, whereas the first line leaders have to ensure that the strategy is executed. Therefore, I always consider that brand managers are an extension of the brand management team at head office. If Rupinder is hearing me, she'll agree to what I'm saying. Building a brand is like running a chariot race with two horses. One horse is the brand manager, the other horse is the first line leader. Just imagine if one horse runs at a speed of 150 kilometers per hour and the other has the capacity to run at a speed of 100 kilometers per hour, will the brand ever be built? The chariot will collapse. The chariot will never win the race. Similarly, if the first line manager and the brand managers, they do not run at the same speed, the brand is going to collapse. I would request all of you, after the session is over, please see the movie The Ben-Hur. I saw that movie long back, more than 60 years back, in 1961. The chariot race there is simply a delight to watch. This chariot race scene runs for about 25 to 30 minutes in this long movie of 5 hours. Don't miss that. Unfortunately today, many organizations, many companies, they do not invest in training or self-learning. So what is the option when companies do not invest in training? Self-learning is the best. All of you have to become eklavya when the company is reluctant to impart training. There are so many dronacharyas among us who are willing to help you, willing to give you complementary training programs. We have Hari Ram Krishnan, we have Anup Sones, we have Deep Bhandari, we have Dr. Sunil Deshpande. We can learn from anyone. Not only the stalwarts, you can learn from anyone. Do you know who are my real gurus? My real gurus are my students. I've learned a lot from them. I'll come to that a little later when we are talking about self-training, self-learning. My submission would be to invest on AI, BI, CI, DI, and EI. What is AI? In this context, AI is not artificial intelligence. AI is acquired intelligence which you get by reading books, by being in touch with better people, people who are superior to you. And I get a lot of learning from my students. Some of my remarkable students, Lakshmikant Sungadi from Bangalore, Tanya Idris from Dhaka, Benazir Ahmad from Dhaka, Sylvie Sarmin from Kolkata, Swarup Chanda from Kolkata, Shreya Gaude from Mumbai, a student of NMIMS, Anari Patel from Ahmedabad. These people really harass me with very difficult questions. And one of the questions which has today been asked by another of us, very new student, Yuvraj Patil, has asked a very, very difficult question. And for the last 3 to 4 days, I am pondering over that question. When these questions come to me, today, of course, I cannot run to the British Library. The British Library is closed for obvious reasons. But I have been rummaging my books. I have a collection of 600 books. My dear friends, if you want to come up in life, make books your best friends and become. That's where you get your intelligence from. Artificial intelligence is different from IQ. IQ is innate. It comes along with our birth. It comes along with our genes, our DNA. The IQ which I have at the age of 5 will be the same at the age of 25 and 50 and 75. That will not change. But how can you improve upon that? Through acquired intelligence. The second is BQ. What is BQ? BQ is or BI is business intelligence. When I'm talking about business intelligence, it is basically thinking and behaving like an entrepreneur. What does an entrepreneur do? He has a totally different lifestyle. 9 to 5 is not the job, not the lifestyle for him. When I'm talking about the entrepreneurs, I'm talking about the real entrepreneurs like Dilip Sanghvi or the Chudka brothers of Intas. At my submission, all of you sitting here, all of you listening to me should become entrepreneur professionals. I have been introduced to this word, entrepreneur professional, by Sudhir Sitapati in his book, The CEO Factory. Who is an entrepreneur professional? An entrepreneur professional is a person who has all the qualities of an entrepreneur and at the same time is extremely professional. And it means basically people who have modified their lifestyle and act and think and behave like entrepreneurs. And few of them whom I know, one of them is Mr. Ganesh Naik, Mr. Madhav Kulkarni, Mr. O.P. Arya. I respect them as entrepreneur professionals. The third kind of intelligence which you need is curiosity intelligence or CQ. I would recommend curiosity may have killed many a cat in the past. But today, that is a necessity if you want to come up in life. What is curiosity? Asking questions. The 5 W's, the 1 H, keep on asking these questions which will increase your curiosity level. And I would also request all of you to read the article in HBR. Curiosity is as important as IQ, as intelligence. It has been authored by one of the greatest thinkers, Thomas Shamrock Premuzic. But make no mistake, my dear friends, curiosity intelligence has originated in India more than 5,000 years back. And that started actually during the Mahabharata war, when Arjun harassed Krishna with thousands, hundreds and hundreds of questions. And the answers which Lord Krishna gave rolled out the beautiful Bhagavad Gita, which for today is a holy book for the Hindus. The next type of intelligence which you require is DQ or digital intelligence. What is digital intelligence? It is a measure of digital maturity. We should invest in relevant digital capabilities aligned with strategy. But more important than digital intelligence is phygital marketing. Digital marketing leads to phygital marketing. What is phygital marketing? At least in India, as long as the sun continues to rise in the east and set in the west, the entity of medical representatives will never die. Medical representatives and the field force will continue to remain a strong force in pharma marketing. But of course, their roles may evolve. When we talk about digital marketing, we normally talk about many people still even think today that transferring the contents of visual aid or an LBL into iPhone, iPad, or a tab is digital marketing, but that is not digital marketing. And those of you who heard about those who heard Salil Kalanpur 3 days ago would know actually what is digital marketing. But my dear friends, digital marketing is important, and so is phygital marketing. And the fifth kind of intelligence which I would people should develop is EQ. EQ is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence basically is knowing myself, managing myself, controlling myself at the same time, knowing and controlling the other people. I should be able to manage and influence the emotions of other people. Emotional intelligence has basically five components. One of them is self-awareness, knowing yourself, knowing your strengths, knowing your weakness, knowing your limitations. And when you know your limitations, you know what are the self-development activities you need to take part in. The second is self-regulation or self-control. Like for example, controlling or regulating your anger. Don't mistake me, my friends, again. I'm not saying you should not give vent to your anger. Had we not given vent to our anger, we would never have had leaders like Veer Savarkar or Bhagat Singh or Chandrasekhar Azad. It is absolutely necessary to give vent to our anger, but in different ways. Through your body language, through your facial expressions, through your eye contact, and sometimes even through silent treatment, you can communicate and express your anger. But please do not suppress your anger. The next component is empathy. What is empathy? Empathy means basically feeling the feelings of the other people, putting yourself into another man's situation and imagining the solution, imagining that situation. Empathy is one of the strongest components of, or the most important component of emotional intelligence. And finally, self-awareness, which is accumulation of all the other four. So my friends, let me conclude this session. What do we need? Pharma leadership is all about empowering the medical representative to generate prescription, and this can be done only by strengthening of field managers, the first line leaders in particular, and strengthening our brand managers and building strong brands. At times, we do not get adequate support from the corporate for the training purposes. What then? You need to find a dronacharya. Be an Eklavya and find a dronacharya. And my suggestion is invest a lot on developing the five types of intelligence: AI, BI, CI, DI, and EI. Thank you very much.